I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like everybody they tiptoe around with this social media, but what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequence.
Nobody expected the courtroom to fall completely silent, but that's exactly what happened when the request was made. A child, Teyana, Taylor's daughter, asked to testify in the ongoing legal mess surrounding Aaron Pierre. The reaction wasn't just shock, it was heartbreak. People gasped. Teyana covered her mouth, stunned. Iman reportedly stood up before being asked to sit back down. Because this wasn't just about grown adults arguing anymore. This was about dragging a child into something that had already gone way too far. The situation between Aaron and the Taylor-Shumpert family had been messy for months, but this moment made everything feel too real. It wasn't always like this. There was once hope that Aaron and Teyana could move on from the chaos. That despite her rocky breakup with Iman, she could find happiness again. But instead, that hope turned into headlines, then court dates, and now, this. It had started a few weeks earlier, when Aaron and Teyana's relationship hit another public wall. Rumors swirled of controlling behavior, private recordings, even emotional manipulation. But when things spilled into the courtroom, that's when it became undeniable. Iman had already taken legal steps to protect himself and his daughter. A restraining order was in place. The air between him and Aaron had turned icy cold, and tensions were at an all-time high. When Aaron's legal team suggested calling Teyana's daughter as a potential witness, the courtroom nearly erupted. The judge had to pause the hearing to calm the room. Teyana reportedly looked like the ground had been pulled out from beneath her. Iman shook his head, clenching his fists. No one could believe it. A child being asked to step into this chaos? Sources close to the situation said the idea came from Aaron's team hoping to clarify household dynamics, but many saw it differently. They saw it as a strategy, a weapon, a way to rattle Teyana emotionally, to paint her as unstable or conflicted, and possibly sway the case in Aaron's favor. Whatever the intent was, it worked because the emotional damage in that room was immediate. Teyana couldn't hide her shock. She wiped her tears, stayed seated, but didn't speak. It wasn't just about protecting her daughter's privacy, it was about protecting her spirit. What child deserves to be pulled into adult warfare? Especially when it's being fought in front of cameras, lawyers, and strangers. Iman was visibly shaken too. Some say he whispered something under his breath, maybe a prayer, maybe a threat, before sitting back down. The judge didn't immediately allow the request. In fact, they appeared stunned themselves. But what shook the public even more was the fact that this request was even considered. It said something deeper about the state of this case. That it had stopped being about resolution and started being about destruction. As soon as the news leaked, social media caught fire. Fans and celebrities alike began speaking out. Posts with the hashtag #ProtectTheKids trended within the hour. One fan tweeted, "You've already broken Teyana. Don't touch her daughter." Another said, "This isn't legal strategy. It's emotional terrorism." And honestly, a lot of people agreed. Public opinion began to shift sharply, if it hadn't already. Aaron Pierre, once considered the cool and mysterious actor who swept Teyana off her feet, was now being seen as someone willing to go to dangerous lengths to win. Even those who had once defended him were now going quiet. Because asking a child to testify? That's a hard line for many. Meanwhile, inside sources say Aaron's team didn't expect the backlash. They allegedly believed it would be a minor procedural request, just a formality. But when Teyana's legal team called it a violation of basic decency, it became clear they had crossed a line they couldn't walk back from. In the days following the court hearing, Teyana went silent. No interviews. No rants. Just a single Instagram story that said, "When they can't control you, they try to destroy what you love." That line hit deep. Fans immediately rallied behind her. The post went viral in hours, and the message was crystal clear. Her daughter was off limits. Iman, too, stayed quiet, but his actions spoke louder than words. He was seen leaving the courthouse with his arm around Teyana. No scouting. No arguing. Just solidarity. That image alone sparked a flood of comments begging them to reunite, not as a couple, but as a family unit. People wanted to see strength in the middle of chaos. Legal experts weighed in soon after, with most agreeing that involving a child, especially one not even in their teens, was highly irregular. One attorney said, unless there's extreme abuse or a very specific need, judges avoid dragging children into these matters. It's emotionally harmful and rarely necessary. That statement only added fuel to the fire. But things got even messier when a supposed leaked memo from Aaron's legal team began circulating. The document allegedly included a list of sample questions meant for the child. Questions like, who do you feel safer around? And what do your parents argue about most? People were horrified. It felt invasive, calculated, and cruel. No one knows for sure if that memo was real, but the damage was already done. The court of public opinion had made its decision. Aaron had gone too far. Teyana's fans began demanding accountability. Some called for her to seek full custody. Others wanted her to file a countersuit for emotional distress. Still others wanted Aaron dropped from projects, canceled entirely. Whether any of that would happen wasn't clear, but the tide had turned. Aaron's team tried to release a brief statement saying their intent was misunderstood and that they only wanted the truth to come out in a respectful way. But no one bought it. Not after everything that had already happened. Especially not after that courtroom scene. In the middle of it all, the real tragedy is that a young girl is witnessing it unfold. A girl who didn't ask to be in this story. Who didn't choose sides. Who didn't ask for her name to be whispered in court or for strangers to debate her family on the internet. And that's what made the public so emotional. It wasn't just about drama anymore. It was about protecting innocence. The judge ultimately delayed the decision. No ruling was made about whether the child would be called to testify. Instead, the hearing was postponed. But many believed the judge was never going to allow it in the first place. That they needed time to make the decision formal, but their mind was already made up. In the meantime, something interesting began happening. Teyana and Aaron were spotted together more often. At first, it was just at court, then outside of it, at a cafe, at their daughter's school, always with the child nearby, always focused on keeping her smiling, laughing, grounded. Fans began to hope, not necessarily for romantic reconciliation, but for unity, for peace, for maturity, and that's what seemed to be happening. Aaron and Teyana, whatever their differences, were putting their daughter first, and people noticed. Aaron, on the other hand, was noticeably absent from the public eye. No new posts, no red carpets, just silence. Rumors circulated that his team was doing damage control, considering a full rebrand or even therapy-based redemption arc. But nothing official came out. The story continues to unfold, revealing new layers of complexity, but one message has become unmistakably clear. There are certain boundaries that should never be crossed. Once those lines are breached, the consequences follow swiftly and often with lasting impact. In this particular case, the ripple effects extend far beyond just headlines and social media chatter. They touch the very lives of those involved, especially the most vulnerable. Throughout this difficult chapter, Teyana Taylor has shown remarkable strength and dignity. Despite facing intense public scrutiny and pressure from all sides, she has refused to stoop to negativity or engage in harmful drama. Instead, she has maintained a steadfast focus on protecting her daughter, carrying herself with grace and unwavering resolve. Even as others around her tried to exploit the situation for personal gain or attention, Teyana stayed true to her values. Her ability to remain composed, even when provoked, has earned her an outpouring of respect from fans and observers alike. Aaron's response has been equally noteworthy. Known for his passionate and fiery nature, many expected him to respond with anger or retaliation. But instead, he has exercised impressive restraint. Choosing the path of legal action rather than public confrontation, he has prioritized his daughter's well-being over personal vendettas. This decision reflects a deep commitment to stability and peace, even when emotions run high and the stakes feel overwhelming. His choice to protect his child through measured and responsible steps speaks volumes about his character and intentions. As for Aaron, his silence in the aftermath has been deafening. Whether his actions were a deliberate attempt to involve a child in legal proceedings or a miscalculated tactic that quickly spiraled out of control, the damage to his reputation is undeniable. What might have been a momentary misstep has now turned into a long-lasting stain, one that will require significant effort and time to repair. His current silence only fuels speculation, but it also signals a possible recognition of the gravity of the situation and its impact on all parties involved. However, beyond the drama surrounding celebrity lives and legal battles, the most important lesson emerging from this saga is a universal one. It's a reminder of how easily adults can lose sight of what truly matters when ego, pride, and hurt feelings take over. In moments like these, it becomes critical to remember who the real victims are, those who have no voice in the dispute, especially children. Protecting them from being dragged into conflict or used as pawns should always be the highest priority. In the end, the true victory will not be measured by who wins the court case or whose version of events prevails. The real triumph will be found in creating an environment of calm and safety for her, a space where she can grow up surrounded by love, away from controversy. That is the goal everyone who truly cares about her should strive toward, now and always.